Venus transiting in Taurus, and this is for all the ascendants. So you can jump straight to your ascendant. There are timestamps mentioned. But before you jump to your ascendant, the impact of whatever I'm going to say will be more for people who are going through Venus Mahadasha, Venus Antardasha. If your Atmakaraka or your Amatyakaraka is Venus, which means your highest degree Venus is holding in your chart. So check your Kundali and see if Venus is holding the highest or the second highest degrees, which means Venus then represents you as a human being, as a person. All right, male or female, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So for these people, the impact is going to be more. If you have planets in the sign of Taurus, then and as Venus transits on these particular dates, the impact will be more because it's going to transit, and especially if you're running through the Antardasha or the Mahadasha of those planets, and Venus is transiting, the impact will definitely be more for the Taurus and the Libra ascendants. Why? Because it's their Lagna Lord. So overall, it's a good transit. So let's jump straight into it. I'm going to start with Taurus because it's the Lagna Lord for the Taurus people. So looks like a very good transit. Taurus people, Venus is your Lagna Lord, and it was in the 12th house, and now it is going to transit to your Lagna Lord, to your first house. Okay, so it is coming back to its own position. So it's time to work on yourself. If you've been feeling lethargic, if you've been having health related issues, it should all be fine. It's a fantastic time for new opportunities at work. Why am I saying work? Right? Because Saturn from the 11th house is looking at Venus. And Saturn is one of your most benefic planets, so nothing to fear Saturn. Saturn is looking at it from the third aspect from the 11th house, and it's the significator of your work and your long distance travel, higher learning. So great time to learn something new. You could expect positive changes at work, especially if your natal Saturn is very well placed and your Venus is very well placed in your chart. You could hear a change of career. The people who are planning to start their own business, trying to become entrepreneurs, this is a fantastic time. Especially for people who are in anything to do with artwork, creativity, because Venus is the significator of that. Even the ones who are into banking and asset management, something to do with money, especially banking, assets, it's a good time. Okay. Venus also happens to be a 6th lord, so it's time to start going to gym. How do you strengthen Venus? So this is not just the transit suggestion, but it should be followed by all the Taurus people, because you need to strengthen Venus, because Venus is the Karaka of beauty, is the significator of beauty, and your look, how you present yourself to the world is very important. So get rid of those old clothes, especially women. You can buy yourself something new. How you dress up, how you go outside in the world is very, very important. The ones who are looking for a job, this transit could be very, very good for you. The trigger dates especially are pretty much in July. There is a lot of action. There's going to be a lot of change in July. Okay, for everyone, not just you. Especially starting from 13th of July, right? Because Saturn goes retrograde. Okay. And the results will be completely different for different people depending on how your chart is and how Saturn is placed. But the reason why I'm talking about Saturn is because Saturn is looking at your Lagna right now, and Venus is transiting on your Lagna. So the entire time Venus will be transiting, the times that I've mentioned here, Saturn will be looking at it. And Saturn is going retrograde on July 13th. So there could be some news about some kind of change at your work. People who are looking for a job could get a job. People who are having tough time at their work, you need to watch out a little bit so that you make sure that you don't mess up your daily work routine. All right. Long distance travel is also on the cards because Saturn happens to be your your ninth lord as well. So the ones who are looking to learn something new or go for a vacation, this could be a very, very good time. It's also a good time for your spouse. Venus from there, especially men. Venus is looking at your 7th house. So the ones who are single could meet someone during this time. Yeah. The ones who are in a relationship, you could plan a small getaway with your partner. It could be in a different country as well. The ones who are planning to, like I said, especially to do with technology, graphic designing. I have said that in my other videos. So watch my other transit videos. I've made transit videos for pretty much all the planets in the last couple of months. So depending on which Mahadasha you're going through, trigger of events will happen. All right, Jupiter is anyway giving you a very good Dhan Yoga. So from the monetary and the career point of view, this transit looks very, very good. So if you have any experiences to share, let us know in the comments. All right, let's look at the Gemini ascendants. So for Gemini ascendants, Venus is transiting from your 11th house to your 12th house. All right. Now this transit may look like not a very good transit, but this transit is forming something called as a Viparit Raj Yoga. All right. Which means the 12th lord is already in the 12th house. Okay. So you could gain from your investments. You could also travel to a different country. The ones who are looking for a job, especially in different countries or in multinational companies, you could hear some good news. So yes, I have a lot of good news, even though the 12th house is activated, and if you're going through Venus Mahadasha, if your planets in your 12th house, the impact will be a lot more. Saturn is also looking at Venus. Venus happens to be your 12th lord and your 5th lord. It's one of your most benefic planets. Saturn is also one of your most benefic planets. So your 5th lord and your 9th lord is aspecting each other, which also forms a Dhan Yoga. All right. So this transit is considered really, really good for you. What you need to watch out, especially if you have malefics already in the 12th house, especially the first few days of this transit when Venus is in Kritika Nakshatra, you need to watch out for injuries, right? Because Kritika is governed by Sun, especially to your feet area. You may also, if you have malefics that is in the 12th house, you may have trouble sleeping the first couple of days, but overall I think the transit is good. It's fantastic time to do anything to do with creativity. The people who are into creative industries, people who are planning to start something, it is time to put your imagination and your subconscious mind at work, right? The ones who are into the music industry or writing or anything to do with creativity, this is a great time. Okay, right? That's all I have for the Gemini ascendants. It's a pretty good transit. If you want to watch my other transit videos, I have made transit videos on all other planets. Right, let's look at the Cancer people. Fantastic. Again, I have good news for all the ascendants. So Venus transiting in your 11th house, which is your 11th lord. Now what is the 11th house? 11th house is the house of networking, your incoming wealth, money house, one of the most important money house. Okay, so especially if you have planets in the 11th house and Venus will transit over it, which means if you have planets in especially in Rohini and Nakshatra, if you have your moon there or if your Venus is placed there, okay, this transit will give you lots of gains. So especially if you're a business owner or the ones who are looking for employment, this can give you very, very positive results. You need to watch out for your health. The health is not all that great during this transit. Why? Because Saturn is your 7th and 8th lord especially, and Saturn is looking at Venus from the 9th house. It could also trigger travel, sudden travel. So don't take any decisions in haste during this particular time, because sudden events can happen, especially to do with your career, because Saturn, the time between 13th July onwards, you need to be a little careful, especially when Saturn goes retrograde. all right, and Mercury will also go retrograde in July. So I have made a separate video for Mercury retrogression, and Mercury will go retrograde in your ascendant in Cancer. So since Saturn, which is also your 7th lord, is looking at Venus, which is your 4th lord, you need to, and especially with Mercury, the later part of July, especially from 13th or 15th of July onwards, you need to watch out with your communication, especially after Mercury going retrograde, because it could cause some kind of a friction with your partner, your spouse. The ones who are single, the ones who have a very strong placement of Venus and a very strong placement of Saturn, and they are single, they could meet someone during this particular time. All right, but overall, from the money making point of view, networking point of view, it's, you know, the ones who are single could meet someone, and you, especially men, right? It's time to network with your friends, socialize with your friends. If you have an older sibling, you may want to connect with your older sibling, right? 11th house, the older sibling is also seen from there. Okay, it is also your 4th lord. You know, there could be some kind of a gain. The ones who are wanting to buy a vehicle, the ones who are wanting to buy a property or land, this could be a very, very good time. But communication you need to watch out for, especially when Mercury goes retrograde. Do not have emotional outbursts. I've said that in my other videos as well. All right. Great. Let's look at the Leo ascendants. So for Leo ascendants, fantastic news. Your 10th lord, which is Venus, is coming to its own house. All right. And Saturn is looking at it from the 8th house. So especially the ones who have been wanting to get a job. Well, change of profession is pretty much on the, you know, it's knocking at your door, and it may happen after July 15th. Okay. And for those who have a very, very strong 10th house, your Venus is very well placed. And your Saturn is also very well placed. It could be a promotion. It could be getting a new job with much, much better prospects. So I have good news for the Leos. And the impact will be more, like I said in the beginning of the video. If you're going through Venus Mahadasha, Venus Antardasha, or Venus is your Atmakaraka holding the highest degree, or Venus is holding the second highest degree, okay, then Venus governs your work. So watch out for planets that are already in Taurus. If you have planets in Taurus, and as Venus passes through the nakshatras, you know, as it passes through Kritika and then it goes, especially in Rohini nakshatra, all right, it's very, very good. If your moon is very well placed, it could give you fantastic results when it comes to your career and your work. The ones who are planning to start a business, especially to do with anything creative. See, Venus is the significator of creativity, beauty. Anything to do with women's clothing, or, you know, anything where the women are the end user, or even to do with assets, property, money, share, stock exchange. This is a fantastic time. Okay. So the ones who are trading money, intraday trading, or, you know, trying to make quick money, you need to be a little careful because of Mercury being in the 12th house. So I do not suggest trading or gambling right now, right? Saturn is in your 8th house looking at your 10th house where Venus will transit. Okay. The ones who are feeling very stagnant at work, you need to put in more focus at work. All right, especially if your Saturn is not well placed and your natal Venus is not very well placed, because, you know, Saturn's third drishti, you know, is not the best one, which means you can't make any errors at work, right? Something small, something very small, that insignificant that you do wrong could be highlighted during this time, right? Because of Saturn looking at it. Right. Saturn also happens to be your 7th lord. Saturn is forming a Viparit Raj Yoga, and it's looking at Venus. So overall, it looks good. Nothing to worry about. I'm sure most of the Leos will want to share good news on the comments. Especially men, because Venus is the Karaka for their spouse or their girlfriend, their wife. The ones who are single, they could also meet someone because your 7th lord is looking at Venus. Okay. So even for women, this could be a good news because Venus is the Karak of relationship, but for men it applies more because Venus is the significator of a woman in a man's chart. Right? Jupiter is already forming a very strong yoga, so the action-packed month of July. So be a little careful when Saturn goes retrograde. Trigger dates are from July 13th onwards. July 13th, July 5th, July 13th, Saturn goes retrograde. July 15th, Sun transits. And just a few days after July 15th, Mercury goes retrograde. So again, you need to watch out for your communication, how you communicate at work. All right. At no point of time you should show aggression, especially with Mars and Ketu in your first house. Right. The ones who are into research-oriented industries, ones who are planning to start their own business, this could be a fantastic time. I always say that Leos, especially if your ascendant is strong, your sun is strong, your Mars is strong in your chart, you should you should always look at being a business owner instead of working for other people. So if you have any plans, I think Venus transiting, and especially if the plans are in in anything to do with creativity, I think Venus transiting to your 10th house is the best time to put in your creative ideas together and start working towards it. All right. So I think it's a very good transit. Please share your comments so that the other Leos can also benefit from it. Okay. All right, let's look at the Virgo ascendants. For the Virgo ascendants, Venus is a very, very benefic planet. It's also a friend of Mercury, and it's the lord of your 9th house. And where is it transiting? It's transiting on your 9th house. So it's a fantastic transit. Okay. So people who are feeling that nothing is moving, nothing is going on at work or in their personal lives. So 9th house is the house of Bhagya. Okay? Your luck especially. So Venus governs that, and Venus was all along in your 8th house. So it's a great relief for the Virgo ascendants with Venus coming to your 9th house. So go to that place that you've been wanting to travel. Get in touch with your father. Get in touch with anyone that you consider as your guru. And meet them, say good things to them, thank them. All right? Because 9th house is the house of your gurus and your father. If you're planning to go for a vacation, go visit a religious place. You will get fantastic results. Okay? Travel is definitely on the cards, especially the ones in India with this particular transit. You need to watch out for your communication because, like I said, especially after the 15th of July onwards, when Sun transit out, Saturn, one of your most benefic planets, is going to go retrograde. Okay, so communication with your spouse and your business partner, especially the later part of July, you need to watch out for. Okay, it's a great time to take a break from work. If you are already in a relationship, if you're married, go for a vacation with your spouse and make sure you visit a temple or a religious place. You'll get fantastic results. All right. The ones who are into creative industries, this is also a very, very good transit to put your thoughts in together to see what you want to do if you want to start your own business as an entrepreneur. Okay. The ones who are single, if your Saturn is very well placed, and your Venus is very well placed, your 5th lord, which is Saturn, is looking at Venus, transit Venus. During this particular time, you could meet someone as well. So this is from all directions a very, very good transit. It is also causing Dhan Yoga. So business owners can expect new orders or new contracts. People who are working in contractual employment, this is a very, very good sign. You could get more business during this time, and that business could involve travel. Okay, great time to also spend on education if you want to learn something new, especially if you want to learn something creative. This is a very good time to get back to college, or get back to learning something online, or whatever your comfort level is, to learn something new. Higher learning is seen from this particular transit. Okay. All right, let's look at the Libra people. So Libra, this is Venus is your Lagna Lord, and Venus is in your 8th house, in its own sign. So this is the time for a bit of transformation for you. Okay, Venus is very comfortable. It's an own sign, and this particular transit may look not very good, and you must be wondering why Venus in the 8th house is good, because the 8th house is a very feared house. Is because it is causing something called as a Viparit Raj Yoga, which means the 8th Lord is in the 8th house, and it's also your Lagna Lord. Okay, so there could be sudden gain of wealth in this particular transit. Okay, that doesn't mean you go to the casino or you go buy lottery tickets, but the ones who who regularly play lottery, you can, you know, this transit, if your 8th house is very, very strong, if your natal 8th house is also very strong, this can give you sudden gain from somewhere. Okay, maybe you had invested money somewhere, and, you know, in some equities and some stocks, and that money multiplies, right? Especially if your 8th house, your natal 8th house is strong, and your Venus is very strong, you can expect gains, because from there Venus is looking at your 2nd house of wealth. Your spouse could get some kind of a gain and share it with you. Hey, I've got some, I've made some money from here, I invested somewhere, or I got a new order, I got a huge contract, and you could hear that from your spouse. All right, great time to connect with your spouse's family, especially the in-laws. Fantastic time to connect with them. Saturn is looking at it from the 6th house. So again, the ones who are into who have taken a loan, you need to be very careful. Do not default on your loans. The ones who are looking for a loan, this particular transit can grant the loan, because Saturn is one of your most benefic planets. It's the lord of your 5th house, and your lord of your 5th house is looking at it from the 6th house. Okay, so Saturn is aspecting Venus, your Lagna Lord. Fantastic transit. Look after your health. Don't take any sudden decisions, especially after July 13, because after July 13 there is going to be a lot of changes. Saturn is going retrograde. Sun is transiting out from Gemini to Cancer, where Mercury is sitting there, and Mercury will go retrograde. So please be cautious about your health, about how you communicate with your spouse, and also be careful when you're driving. 8th house is sudden ups and sudden downs. So if you have malefics in your 8th house, Venus will transit over those malefics. If your 8th house is strong, it should give you benefit, positive results. If your 8th house is weak, sudden events can happen which can cause you injury as well. Injury, loss of money. So analyze your natal chart, but overall the transit looks very, very good. It is forming a yoga called a Viparit Raj Yoga, which means the 8th Lord in the 8th house. Okay, the ones who have interest in occult, astrology, or anything to do with research, it's a fantastic time to learn something new. The ones who want to learn astrology, I'm starting a course here, so you can enroll yourself. All right, let's look at the Scorpio Ascendant. So the Scorpio Ascendants, Venus is your 7th Lord and your 12th Lord, and it is coming to its own sign of Taurus in your 7th house. So great time to spend with your spouse, the ones who are in a relationship. The ones who are looking forward for a business partnership, this particular transit on these days could give you certain opportunities for business partnership. All right, and you need to evaluate how those partnerships are. Just because I said it and suddenly you get some kind of a business offer or a contract, that doesn't mean you accept it. You need to evaluate it. It could be from a foreign land as well, because Venus is your 12th Lord. Right, the ones who are single, this transit is fantastic all along. Venus, especially if you're a man All along Venus was in your sixth house, and now it is transiting to your seventh house. So if you're a man and you're looking for a relationship, this could be a time that you could meet someone. Okay, the ones who are looking for a business partnership, this is also a very good time. Now Saturn is looking at Venus from the fifth house. Now those who have a malefic Saturn, those who have Saturn conjunct with Rahu in their birth chart, or Saturn is not very well placed, Saturn is weak in their natal chart. Now this particular transit, it could cause some kind of a conflict, especially after July 13th when Saturn goes retrograde. So you need to make sure that the ones who are in a relationship after July 13th, especially, you need to be very careful about how you communicate with your spouse and your partner and even your business partner. It's all seen from there. Okay. Saturn is the reason I'm talking about Saturn is because Saturn will go retrograde on July 13th, and then Mercury goes retrograde after some time. Sun is transit. So July is going to be a action-packed month, not just for you, for everyone, because there's a lot of transits and planets going retrograde in July, right? Saturn is going retrograde. It's going to be retrograde for a few months. Mercury will be retrograde for quite some time, about 25 odd days is what I know. Okay. And whenever Mercury goes retrograde, people can have miscommunication. And who does the miscommunication happen with? With people at work and with the spouse, right? So from the work point of view, there could be a change of profession. There could be change of residence as well. All right. So watch out for that. People who are into the creative industry, this is a fantastic time for you, especially who are into the business, any kind of business to do with creativity, because Venus from there will look at your Lagna. Okay. People who are with anything to do with where women are the end user, any kind of business, this is a fantastic time for you. Okay. Well, that's all I have. It's a very good transit. There is more positive than negative. So wish you all the best, Scorpios. Let's look at the Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this is a fantastic transit for you. Venus in the sixth house in the sign of Taurus. And the reason I'm saying that, although Venus lacks strength in the sixth house, I will tell you about certain negatives that you might want to watch out for. But it causes something called as a Viparit Rajyog, which means the sixth lord is in the sixth house. So sixth house is the house of your everyday work. So the ones who are looking for employment, this particular transit can trigger employment for you, especially with Saturn looking at it. Okay. Saturn is your second lord and third lord. So ones who are planning to start their own business, this is also a very good sign. Okay. With your second and third lord, Saturn looking at it from the fourth house. Now from there, Venus is also looking at the 12th house, so there could be something to do with the foreign lands. You need to look out for your health. People who have a very strong Venus and strong Saturn in their charts, they could get their loans approved and granted during this particular time. Okay. The ones who don't have a very strong Venus, and there are malefics and it's afflicted, and Saturn is also afflicted, avoid taking loans during this particular transit, because your sixth house will be very strongly activated. All right. Also a good time to look after your health. Sixth house is the house of health related issues. So good time to get a health checkup done. The ones who own pets, it's a good time to look out for your pets as well. Overall, it's a fantastic transit. People who are into the creative industry especially will benefit from it. People who are into the medicine industry will benefit from it. People who are opposing you at work, you need to make sure that you're not going against them, because see, Venus is not a warrior like Mars. All right. You need to be very calm, gentle, and use the Venus traits to avoid conflict with them. Try to make them your friends, or try to talk to them in a very, very nice, good way. And you may feel some kind of a conflict, especially after Saturn goes retrograde and Mercury goes retrograde in the second half of July. So second half of July onwards, you need to really watch out on your communication with your colleagues, with your family. All right. Before that, the time is quite good when the retrogression hasn't started. Yeah. All right. The ones who are going through Venus Mahadasha or are looking to travel to a foreign land, this could also trigger travel as well, right? Because Venus from there looks at the 12th house, and 12th house is of the foreign land. Great time to do service for the people. Okay. 6th and 12th house axis. Do charity. Feed animals. Look after old people. Okay. You'll get fantastic results. All right. Let's look at Capricorn people. Capricorn ascendants, Venus governs your 5th house and your 10th house. Fantastic transit for the Capricorn people, especially if you're going through Venus Mahadasha, Antardasha, or Venus is your Atma Karaka. This particular transit could unlock your good karmas from your past life. So the ones who have been working hard, the ones who have been focusing on their business, you will get the results right now. Fantastic time to spend time with your children. The ones who want to learn something new, this triggers education as well. If you want to learn something new, opens up a Dhan Yoga. Fantastic. The 5th Lord in the 5th house, and then looking at the 11th house. So the people who are into business, even the ones who are not into business, who are into contractual work, the ones who are employed, you could get fantastic results during this particular time. All right. Saturn, being your 2nd Lord, is looking at your 5th Lord. Okay. Causing a very, very powerful Dhan Yoga. Multiple Dhan Yogas are being triggered with this particular transit. So Capricorn ascendants, make sure that you comment and let the other Capricorns know about this transit being good, very, very good for your money making and your career. The results will be much better for people who already have a very strong Saturn and a strong Venus in their chart. Ones who have planets in their 5th house in Taurus, it will trigger events in these particular dates that I have mentioned. All right. Fantastic transit. Venus is one of your most benefic planets and it's coming home. So good news for the Capricorn people. All right. Aquarius ascendants. Saturn is your Lagna Lord. Venus is your most benefic planet. And Saturn from the 2nd house is looking at Venus, which is in your 4th house. What an amazing transit, right? So people who are wanting to get that new vehicle, or people who are wanting to buy a car, property, this is a fantastic transit for you. Okay. So Venus likes being in the 4th house. From there it's looking at your 10th house. So Saturn, even if it's your Lagna Lord, Saturn is always the significator of your work. So especially people who are into any kind of business to do with research, medicine, pharma, or anything creative, or any kind of business or work where women are the end users, will get fantastic results. There could be change of profession, a much better profession. The ones who are already in a business, this particular transit is very, very good for you. Travel, it can trigger travel. It's the Lord of your 7th house. The ones who want to learn something new, fantastic time to learn something new. Okay. You could consider some kind of a home improvement as well. Something to do with interiors. A lot of Aquarius, because this is Venus is coming to your 4th house, which is your home, your comfort level. All right. The ones who are in a relationship, you need to watch out for how you communicate, especially after 13th of July. Because 2 planets will go retrograde. One is Saturn on 13th of July. Then Sun transits on in Cancer to your 6th house, and Mercury is going to be retrograde in a couple of days after that. So at your work, you need to, on the downside, you may feel that there's some friction at work, and some people are just targeting you, and you need to watch out for your communication. There could be some kind of a miscommunication with your spouse as well as at work. But overall, From your peace of mind, from the money making point of view, from your career point of view, overall I consider this transit very, very good for you. Alright, so all the best, Aquarius people. Let's look at the Pisces. So for Pisces, Venus is transiting in the third house. The third house of your creativity, of your hands, of your communication. Fantastic time. The ones who are into the creative industry. Well, Saturn is transiting in your first house. And whenever Saturn is transiting in your first house, passing your Lagna, Saturn is a karmic planet. It unleashes your pending karma from your last life. So the ones who have always thought that, I was meant to do something else, this is the time to let out your creative genius, your imagination power, because Venus is getting more strength here now. And Venus is a very important planet for the Pisces people, because Venus exalts in your Lagna, which is why Pisces people are usually very, very creative people. They use imagination. So the ones who are into anything to do with their hands, music, creativity, the ones who like writing, poetry, fantastic time for you. This particular transit also triggers short distance travel, right? And the plan could happen all of a sudden, okay? Because it's your Venus happens to be your 8th lord as well, okay? Of transformation, of longevity. So once going through Venus Mahadasha, since Venus is your 8th lord as well, it's also good to look after your health and avoid any kind of business to do with speculation, where you suddenly want to trade cryptos and make money. All right, you may lose money. So avoid any risky investments during this particular time. But overall, to become an entrepreneur, especially if you have planets in the third house, if you wanted to become a YouTuber, you wanted to become some specialist on social media, this is the time, especially if you have any creative traits. This particular time period is fantastic to take steps towards what you want to become, instead of the ones who are working for other people and they've always wanted to have a side gig. I'm not saying stop working and just start something new. Please continue to work, but it's a fantastic time to have a plan B, plan C, to especially in the creative field. Okay. Saturn is looking at it. Saturn is the lord of your 11th house. So the people who are into the communication and mass communication, the ones who want to reach out to the world, this is a great time and showcase your skills and your talent. All right. That's all I have. So let's look at the Aries people. For Aries people, fantastic. Your second lord Venus is in the second house. It's time to spend time with your family. The ones who have been waiting for money and payments, and their payments who are being delayed, you will get paid now, because your second house of money and your family, your money, your savings is coming back to that. So it's a very, very powerful Dhan Yoga, your second house, Lord coming to your second house. So from the financial point of view, it is fantastic. People who are into social media will gain immensely with that. Even people who are into any kind of fitness or creative industry, great time. Okay, if you wanted to learn something new, again, it's a very, very good time. Good time to spend with your family. If you're married, it's a fantastic time to spend time with your spouse and your spouse's family, right? Because your second house is 8th from your 7th, and Venus governs your 7th house of your spouse. The ones that are single, you could meet someone during this particular time. From the work front, you need to be a little careful because Saturn will go retrograde. The time from July 13th onwards is not the best time, especially there could be change of profession. There could be miscommunication at work. There could be miscommunication with your spouse, especially after July 13th. All right. So how you speak. So the second house is the house of your speech. It's good to be very humble and polite. Aries people may not be very humble, but Venus in the second house, this is a time to be very polite and humble and think before you speak, especially with your spouse and your colleagues. Overall, from the money making point of view, this transit is fantastic. The ones that are single, like I said, they could meet someone. People who are into creative industry will immensely benefit. People into social media, this is a fantastic transit for Aries to explore social media and utilize their creative traits. I do not suggest risky investments, although they might be very tempted to trade money or make some investments for quick money. So watch out for that. I'm not saying it's going to be negative, but you need to look at your chart. You need to look at the placement of your moon, especially, and if there are planets in the second house. But overall, from the monetary and the relationship point of view, it is fantastic. From the career point of view, there could be changes in career, especially after the second part of July, right? So let us know in the comments so that the other Aries can also benefit from it. Well, that's all I have for you. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends and family. If you need a consultation, my information is right here. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.